Ladies and gentlemen, this is Coda Jacobs, the crusader and visionary behind a brighter future in wrestling. If you're an honorable and noble public servant like myself, you are listening to the Game Changer Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Nate the Great!
Okay, so here we go. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Game Changer Podcast. I am your host, NateFNGreat, the Paladin of Positivity, and I am being joined here by, honestly, the one man who I have said on multiple times, for the love of God, put a pair of pants on, being the one, the only, the majestic Ethan Matthews.
I'm majestic now. That's pretty fantastic. And I mean, I wear short pants. I have more revealing attires that I wear. I mean, you've seen the denim cuts.
That is true. I mean, you always come up with like those leopard leotards every single week. So this interview actually came about because of the fact that.
Adios, guys.
See you, Tommy. Yeah, you'll probably expect that during the show. There'll be some people doing it coming in and out. We just got done with an ACW show.
We're interviewing El Fresco tonight.
This is true. And what's crazy about this entire deal is that we just got done with the Rumble, and what a Rumble it was. But this interview actually came about because you were actually a part of the interview that happened with Salem Crane.
Yes.
Good to see you,
I don't know.
Nah, fuck that noise. I was in Chicago for the majority of the week.
I mean, that's fair.
I just want to go home and sleep.
I love you, buddy. Have a good night.
Take it easy, guys.
You too.
See you tomorrow?
I don't think so.
That's
supposed
fair.
to go see Joe Rogan.
Oh, that's super fair.
Yeah. So if that falls through, I'll be...
The power of editing. That's the best part about it. But yeah, you came in during the interview with Salem Crane.
Yes.
And the story that happened with Dysfunction definitely does fascinate me. So I definitely want to hear your side of the story when it comes to the destruction of Dysfunction, because I think there's always like two sides to every story, but there's always like different variables when it comes to that. But we'll get into that a little bit later on. But one of the first questions I always ask my guests is, what got you so interested in the world of professional wrestling? What kind of hooked you onto it and made you think that this is something that I kind of want to be a part of?
Well, so, I grew up watching wrestling. My cousin Ryan was super into wrestling, and so from a very, very young age, I was entertained by it, and he was into it and stuff. And then, as, one does, I think I was maybe like an adolescent, we'll say like 13, 14 or so. It kind of grew out of it, kind of got like more interested in different things, rock and roll and girls and stuff like that. And then, how old was I? It would have been like 2015. So I'm like 24-ish. And I'm working with this guy, and he would do like stagehand work for WWE when they would come into town and stuff. And you spend so much time with like one person out on the road, and you get just talking about anything and everything. And so we spent a lot of time like talking about like classic Attitude Era WWE. Man, like you gotta like at least watch Raw, man. Like it's on the Hulu. Watch it. So I start watching, and I think like the second week of Raw that I'm watching on Hulu is that Cena Rollins match where Seth Rollins breaks John Cena's nose.
Oh, man.
So, I'm intrigued by that, and then, end up watching the next week. Oh, no. End up watching the next week and see Seth Rollins come out with the "Never Shuts Up" on the front, "You Can't See" knee on the back t-shirt, and hook, line, and sinker. I think like 6 months later I was training. But I'd say, like, if anything, like, if there was any angle or any story, anything like that, like, it's like, oh, man, like, I think I want to do this. I have to say that was probably it, at least as a grown adult.
Yeah. So who were some of your, like, all-time favorites?
HBK. Number one is HBK. 100%. I'd say, Michaels, Brett, Austin. Probably. It might change tomorrow, but I mean, like, that's the answer right now.
I mean,
but number one is always Sean.
Unless, he has, like, some shady deal like, Hogan had years ago.
Yeah, but then he dropped the leg drop on Gawker, and then everybody just kind of sort of forgot about it, right?
You know, that sounds about right.
That's kind of like what happened.
So, you mentioned that about 6 months after you saw that, you started training. Who was kind of your trainer when you first got into the realm of professional wrestling?
So, I trained at the ACW Wrestling Academy, and was trained by Nick Colucci and Swago.
Funny enough, we just saw Nick Colucci.
Right, he just popped in. He must have heard that we were going to be talking about him in a second. Yeah, so their school based out of Oshkosh, Wisconsin. And it was a decision. It was one of those things where, Cujo actually was the guy that I was talking to the most about, potentially getting into a ring. And he was, had given me a number for Shane, actually, for the Dojo of Pain school. Mm-hmm. And I was dragging my feet, didn't make the call. And then, finally, one night, after a couple of adult beverages, all right, man, if you're seriously thinking about it, I know that, Swago and Colucci have, a new class starting up. Make the call. See you Sunday. So, becomes, boom, hey, man, if you're really serious, make the call. They're starting a new class. Get in. If you think you can do it, go for it. And so then I did, and now here we are.
How long did it take before you were able, or passed the?
I think we trained for just over a year before they let us do anything. We actually debuted at the first, my class debuted at the first Water City Wrestling Con, which is WWE's biggest event of the year. I'm sorry, not the
ACW.
ACW's biggest. Oh, jeez, it's been a long night. I'm sorry. ACW's biggest event of the year. I mean, again, as we talked about previously, one of my favorite wrestlers growing up and still to this day, Bret Hart. I debuted on an event featuring one of my childhood heroes. What more could you ask for, right? And from there, we've been living a dream ever since.
It was really crazy because thinking about how far people have come since the first Water City Wrestling Con.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just absolutely insane, and I can definitely say that I have the fortune of seeing almost every Water City Wrestling Con except for the second one where it was Sadist and Ryback in the main event.
Oh, that match was so good. I was really surprised that I'm actually taller than Ryback.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I tell you, they talk so much about how the camera adds 10 pounds or whatever, but I think it adds 3 inches too, man, because I did not expect to be taller than that. Can we call him an ogre of a man? He kind of looks like an ogre or an orc, kind of. Maybe not as much as Shellac does, but definitely has that kind of ogre, orcish kind of thing going on, in my opinion. I don't know.
No, I could definitely see that. I could see somebody putting green paint on his face and having the green ears. And
I was into when I started watching wrestling again, man. I was into Ryback. I actually enjoyed the whole thing, but apparently I was in the minority, I guess.
Where the majority were thinking Ryback really. Did you see one of his Twitter polls that he had?
Where he's asking where he should go next, and somehow one of the poll options becomes retire, and it's over 80% of people telling him to just retire. I mean, I don't know. I wonder how he's doing at selling his supplements. I know that he sells supplements on the interwebs.
Well, I mean, it's not one of those things where I can say how he's doing with that because I've not purchased any of his supplements. But so after about a year working in the Dojo of Pain ACW Academy.
Not the Dojo of Pain in ACW.
Oh, in the ACW Academy? Okay.
Yes, I did not. I have never stepped foot in the Dojo of Pain.
Oh, really?
Yeah, never have once.
Okay, gotcha.
That being said, I hear that it's a phenomenal school. If you are more in the Green Bay type area of Wisconsin, definitely a great option. But
a little cheap plug for the Dojo of Pain.
Yeah, again, cheap plug. Again, I can't put enough respect on the name of the ACW Academy as well. Again, that's where I came from. That's where. Players Club. Oh no.
Uh-oh. Well,
Cash is definitely gone.
So about a year of training, they allow you to go into your first matchup. Kind of walk us through like the day of, that kind of deal. What was kind of your mindset going into like the match type?
Yes, very good. Thank you.
Yeah, thumbs up from Swoggle. One of the greatest cruiserweight champions of all time.
The last real
speaking
one.
of Dojo Pain.
The last real one. Love you too. No, I was talking only good things. I told him that I only stepped no fleet in there, so it hasn't been desecrated by my presence yet.
We're literally doing an interview for the podcast. He said nothing but good things.
So that day, oh man, I was a mess that day. Actually, the day before was one of my best friend's funerals.
Really?
Yeah, and so like, I'm just an absolute emotional wreck. I remember actually, like, of all people, I had a real good heart-to-heart with Carlito outside over a cigarette, and I'm telling you, like, for the rest of my life, like, Carlito is, dare I say, cool.
I waited for my timing.
Perfect time.
Carlito, I was like, wait a minute. Yep.
The Wild Brock Hall makes his
They're lying
presence
here
on the GCP.
So this is probably like, the most star-packed interview that you're going to do in months. At least all summer, I'd say, man. Just because, like,
really
we're
is.
standing in that perfect spot where we're getting everybody that's coming out of the building. So, I mean, it's...
So, some people might find it distracting. I find it more as a way to...
See, but I think that, like, most of us at some point in our lives were diagnosed with ADD or ADHD. I know I certainly was. I was only on, like, Lexapro for, like, 9 months or something like that, and then they took me off of it.
Oh, wow.
It's like 8th grade, when I think, like, everybody is getting diagnosed with ADHD and shit. Like, she's like, no, you're just going through puberty. That's all.
So this medication is not going to help me through puberty. No. So, first day, you've definitely mentioned that you're dealing with a lot of hardship during...
Yeah,
this time.
absolutely. And so, I mean, I guess, going in, like, I'm trying my best to, like, just be, in the moment. But at the same time, I'm thinking, I'm remembering,
We're going to Bolitos.
Oh.
Greasy, fucking heat lamped.
It's so good. I really miss when they had Politos in Green Bay. Cheap Politos.
I ate it right in front of you last show. That's right.
If you're a franchisee of any sorts, please get me another Politos in Green Bay. It doesn't have to be right downtown, but it does have to serve me pizza at 2:00 in the morning. By the slice. Wonderful place.
Oh my God.
Anytime that I end up like on a road trip and there's a random Politos that I find, I'm making that stop. I actually got a Polito stop earlier in the summer, a couple months ago. It was pretty good.
So, thank you.
What's my favorite kind of pizza? That's a really good question.
I'm about to say, do you want me to just leave my phone and you just do the interview yourself?
Safe.
I mean, I kind of am just answering my own questions,
That's
I
it.
guess. Right? I'm
Yeah.
asking myself questions and then answering them. See you next week, bud. See you next week.
So we were talking favorite pizza, you said?
Oh, man. Okay, so yeah, favorite pizza. Like, a straight standard pepperoni, like, sometimes, like, really just hits the spot, right? Like, pepperoni and bacon really slaps. And, like, I was never a fan of, like, pineapple on pizza until I tried pepperoni, pineapple, and bacon, which might sound like an abomination.
Hi, guys.
Bye, Perch.
Woohoo.
Might sound like an abomination, but fantastic little thing. I'm also a big fan of, like, your, like, spinach and artichoke style pizzas on, like, a nice, like, flat crust.
No, he's actually...
Well, no, I'm gonna have to try that now.
Yeah,
Because I know the artichokes are like really, really good.
yeah, man. Like, spinach and artichoke dip is fantastic. But then you put it on a pizza, oh, man, I'm in heaven.
So we went from pizza to... Oh, yeah. So one my understanding is your first match was at Varsity Wrestling Con? Because that would have been
Yes.
you meeting
yes,
up
that
with
was my
Cody.
debut. Yep.
Were you involved in the Battle Royal? Or
Yes.
Okay. So I'm trying to remember that. I remember seeing like so many people in the Battle Royal that I'm just like, oh, shit.
I did not do well. Yeah, I did not do well. Remember, I accidentally, I like poked somebody in the eye and like felt really bad about it,
no.
and like really got him. Like,
Do you remember who it was?
Yes, but we won't speak his name.
Okay, fair enough.
Yep, we won't speak his name. That's one of those.
But let me at least ask this: Do I at least know the guy?
I would imagine so. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's all.
I used to promote in the northern part of the state.
Okay. Might have an idea, but I mean, battle royals can always change variables and stuff like that. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, from there, things only got better from there. Did you stick around with ACW? I remember I only saw Varsity Wrestling Con and then a couple of ACW shows after that, and then I kind of fell off the bandwagon for a while.
You know, like we did Wrestling Con, and then I did a couple of, you know, I think I did a singles match, and then I think I did a tag team match, and then by that December, we formed Delirium.
Delirium, there we go. Why was I thinking Dysfunction? Oh wait, I think I was thinking about the clowns. The
the Brothers of Funstruction.
Funstruction, I think. Yeah.
See, yes.
You might do me a solid.
What you need?
You go around the corner on that table. There should be a crimson backpack or a maroon backpack.
There we go. Okay.
So yes, Brothers of Funstruction. Another great team. You know, now that we're just like talking about people and stuff, like Yabo and Ruffle, I can't speak highly enough about. Actually, the whole thing that they've got going on is just so incredible. Like, you know, so many things that you wouldn't expect to see in a wrestling match that happen in a Brothers of Funstruction match.
I do remember them just being like two giant clowns, and all I thought to myself was just, man, this is one of the craziest, but also one of the more entertaining duos I think I've seen.
Imagine trying to wrestle in those gigantic clown shoes.
I will not, because I will not do that in my life.
Sounds like Twisted Ankle City, if you ask me. I don't know.
It is. So, by December, you formed Delirium with Chase.
Actually, Chase didn't join us until far later down the line. The original group of Delirium was myself, Salem Crane. Did we just call Kenny Kenny? I think Kenny was just Kenny, and then we had Fink. Yeah, and then, you know, just kind of started laying waste to anything and everything that we moved. I mean, we made our debut by jumping Tommy Dreamer during the ACW Scramble match at the anniversary show. I mean,
why not Tommy Dreamer?
Why not Tommy Dreamer? I remember, like, you know, we drag him out of the match and start beating him down, and then we left him laying at in the ladies' parlor here at the Masonic Center down here in Oshkosh. We just left him laying.
Yeah, I'm sure Tommy was just like, I get to take a nap. That's cool.
I think probably. I don't know what he did.
So, Delirium is definitely getting, you know, some major traction. We're taking out Tommy Dreamer.
Boy.
Brooks.
You good?
And that was a real handshake, unlike the high five that you were trying to give me earlier.
Yeah, roll with that. So yeah, you know, Delirium was a group for a good amount of time, and then at the next Water City Wrestling Con, we ended up doing a big, you know, 4-man match. Ended up being Kenny's first and only match, I think, actual match, and then yeah, I think like shortly thereafter is when we brought in Chase, and then, like, you know, really elevated the group. And then, you know, like, shortly thereafter, we just kind of started fizzling out.
It does kind of suck when, you know, you have something like almost like a gold mine, and then next thing you know, it just kind of just goes from like
just collapsed. Yep.
It's like, we found gold, and then the rocks just kind of cave in on the whole thing. It's like,
I mean, kind of, yeah. Like, the mine definitely collapsed. Full collapse of the mine.
But I mean, you still worked a bit with like damn vehicle. Still worked a bit with like Crane after. Hold on, man. I'm gonna say this: that it is one of the most disruptive shows. I don't think I've had. I wouldn't say issues with the show, but I've had trouble with the show since my interview with Dave Hero.
Oh,
that literally, it was mainly because somebody's either interrupting.
Yep.
They needed him for the show, or it was cold, and therefore my electronics decided, hey, it's too chilly for my battery, so
Aww.
so no, we're not gonna work. So I had to.
Did it spill or no? We need to get you one of those bellhop things.
Avalon's having a bit of a fun day today. Oh gosh, we were talking about delirium caving in. Yeah, no, now I remember. My leg questioning was, but you still tagged a bit with like Crane afterwards, right? Or was it kind of like, one person kind of fell off and then another?
Yeah, it kind of like started like it kind of became like like once, like shortly after we brought Chase into the group, we ran for a good handful of months, and then I was the first one of that 4-piece to break off, and then I did. I think I did the Water City Wrestling Con Rumble again, then like that following year, which would have been the 3rd year of the event.
Mm-hmm.
And then I left the company for a little bit. I left the company ACW for a little bit.
Was it due to personal reasons? Or
No, it just became one of those, like I needed some time away. It wasn't there wasn't any rhyme or reason or anything like that. There wasn't a this happened so I'm leaving kind of a thing. There was nothing like that. It was a much more of a manner of, well, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not with this group anymore. And so I needed to evolve and change.
Okay.
And I needed some time to be gone from here to do that. You know what I mean? If I just try to if I tried to go from being Ethan Matthews in Delirium to being the incarnation of Ethan Matthews you see before you today, it probably wouldn't have been the smoothest transition. Am I right?
That is fairly true. I think people would just be kind of like, what? I mean, it's kind of like when they broke off La Resistance, and one of them was just kind of like I think both of them kind of became like fashion models or some weird shit like that.
Yeah.
What Sylvain did, and then Robert just kind of was just like, hey, look at me, and he even had it in his song, just look at me. One of the best theme songs ever when it comes to a heel. I don't care what anyone says.
And who doesn't love a good foreign heel?
Well, problem is that, certain foreign heels, they're fine, but when you step across a line, that's where it gets to be a little bit tough. I mean, Muhammad Hassan is the best case in point of that. But they could have honestly, edited that episode.
And I mean, he really got the short end of the stick there, right? Man, he sure did. And timing is everything too. It was not great.
No, it was definitely not. So, taking time away. How long did you have that break for?
Oh man, it was probably about a year, maybe a little more. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think it was probably a good year or so. Yeah. Because I think the last thing I would have done would have been Wrestling Con, and then obviously Wrestling Con 2020 was canceled, and then I think I might have come back for the Rumble show actually.
Oh, for that Rumble show.
Yeah, for that Rumble show last year would have been when I came back.
Woo!
Hi.
Well, that horn was a thing.
So yeah, a little over a year.
Yeah. So during that time off, what were some of the things that you did to kind of, I guess maybe not fully, get away from wrestling, but kind of, take your mind off and kind of relax?
Oh, I was still wrestling. I was just
wrestling.
Really? Yeah, I was just wrestling at different promotions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I just took some time off from this company.
Okay.
To evolve and grow and become what I am today. I mean, again, I couldn't necessarily do it easily here right away. Especially being what I was and trying to become what I became.
You going to the bar?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I didn't stop wrestling.
Okay. So at what point did you come up with the character that we see nowadays?
So the luxurious ones, which was originally a trio, myself, Mav Boone, and the beautiful Baxter Belafonte.
You as well.
You still wearing your tights?
He always wears his gear.
That's gross.
And I take it off, then it's just off.
So yeah, myself, Mav Boone, and Baxter Belafonte, become this trio, the luxurious ones. And I don't know, like at first, like it wasn't even like my idea really or anything like that. It was just I was a guy at a promotion, and there was three of us that kind of had a similar kind of a look and a similar kind of aura, if you will, and we all just got paired together. Mav and I had our first match together.
Drive safe, be safe, all that good stuff.
Yes. Had our first match together, actually, just about 2 years ago now for Horror Slam outside of Detroit. Again, I don't think we were even luxurious ones yet. I think we were the luxurious life is what we were billed as at that particular show. And yeah, it was us against Team JCW, which was the Weed Man and fucking Congo Kong. And I'll tell you, that's quite the way to form a tag team, by getting just absolutely demolished by every pound of Congo Kong. Who's great. If you've never gotten the opportunity to see a Congo Kong match live and in person, it's worth the trip.
You land like not
and so then,
super hard.
Yeah, that all just kind of
I went perfectly
blossomed
over like a
and
fucking pendulum, like, and my thigh meat
became that much bigger
that
of
was
a
the
thing.
first thing that hit anything.
For those that haven't seen the act, the luxurious ones, we're essentially just the Seltzer Boys. We're your ultimate douchebag team that are a couple of chicken shits. We like to drink our White Claws. We like to wear our White Claws.
Gimmick?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
At least for a little bit.
Same.
And then it's been a wild 2 years that we've been doing it, but I guess people really like to hate it.
Well, I think the leopard print definitely does remind me of like a Deuce Bigelow kind of knockoff.
See, there's a couple people that refer to me as like Quagmire all the time.
Oh, I can see that too. Without the giggity.
Right. But could you imagine if I did? Giggity. Giggity goo!
Ethan Matthews, the latest man. Giggity goo.
Yeah, I was working this fair show last weekend. We did like 9 shows in the course of 3 days, and for one of the shows, not completely unbeknownst to me, I'm announced as being from where the women are hot. It's like, man, all right.
Wherever.
Well, one of my buddies comes up to me in the locker room, like right as I'm about seconds before I go through the curtain. Well, man, you better own this. Oh man. And go out, kind of look around. Well, I know I'm definitely not from here. That being said, though, there are plenty of gorgeous women that live in Sturgeon Bay, I'm sure. Maybe. I don't know.
I can't vouch for it because I don't think I've been to Sturgeon Bay.
It's a nice town. Yeah, it's very touristy during the season, but
So, obviously, as time goes on, you definitely do get your fair share of matches. Are there any matches that kind of stick out to you as far as favorite moments or just favorite chemistry with good people?
Every time that Salem Crane and I have matches together, it's always a blast just because of the amount of tension and familiarity there is there. I've had so many matches against Dysfunction, it's not even funny. Matches that I've had, with guys like Joy Jet Avalon are always phenomenal matches. Those are like the ones that you're showing your buddies and stuff like that to be like, hey man, check out what I did last weekend, kind of thing. So yeah, I think those are the big 3 for me that are always matches that I'm super happy with. Sierra's another one that I've wrestled so many times, and that chick hits hard, she kicks hard, she'll throw you around, she doesn't care.
It's like the tough girl image that she puts on is not only in the wrestling world, but is in real life, I'm guessing.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Oh, yeah, she's a tough girl. And then as far as tag stuff is concerned, Luxurious Ones have had a blood feud with Country Air since I think both teams formed.
Oh,
We got a Wildcat sighting. Rawr! He's on the prowl.
back than ever. Getting back into wrestling a lot more. So tomorrow, the Wildcat Tour will be in Frontline Pro, and Sunday I'll be heading to Insane Championship Wrestling. Wrestling.
Well, that's good.
And I'm, Sorry, no, I was just. Did any guys leave like a black bag down here at all?
I've got my bag down here yet.
Okay.
Yeah, my merch bag is down here yet.
Okay.
My gear
the
bag
black
is
one?
upstairs.
Okay.
It's a black leather Wilson bag. Yes, that's
Yeah,
mine.
okay, along with Colucci's got his tool bag of his stuff. I want to make sure everyone else gets it, so.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's-
I haven't gone in to grab my things
Cool. Yeah, because one of the trainees came up to me and I wanted to make sure who it was. And
For
make
sure.
he got it, so. Because that sucks because people's gear and shit gets stolen all the time.
That's never a fun time.
That's one of the reasons. That's one reason why I ended up quitting my job.
yet. So where were we at here?
We were talking about the some of
Oh,
the,
yeah.
We were talking about Sierra.
Oh, and then I got into like as far as tag stuff.
Yeah.
As far as tag stuff, Luxurious Ones, Country Air. Again, like I think we've had a blood feud since both teams started. Again, like Doc Simmons is one of the hardest hitting people I've met in my entire life. Little guy, real little guy, but I'll tell you what, pound for pound, one of the absolute toughest people in the wrestling business.
Speaking of one of the toughest,
Yeah, hey.
so Colucci.
And then, you got, on the other side of that team, Zach Hendricks, who, you see him, big, strong, the outlaw, right? Drinking his whiskey all day, ready to fight. I mean, he's one of those guys, too, that, like, you'd think would just be a straight, throwing clotheslines and, throwing, like, big forearms and stuff like that. But, like, the creativity and the versatility in his offense. Granted, I hate the guy, but, like, he does a lot of cool moves. Like,
This sounds like a shoot interview. You should be selling that.
It wasn't really a shoot interview until we talked about Zach Hendricks.
Oh, right. Are you guys going to the gimmick? Or
yeah, I'll be there.
Okay, I'll be there. You guys are
That's
No, yeah, Zach Hendricks is another one that I've wrestled so many times. The team Country Air, but again, myself and Zach have had a good handful of singles matches together and stuff too. And again, you get so familiar with somebody, you've wrestled somebody so many times, like I can kind of try to figure out what you're thinking and what your next move might be. So I'm there with a counter for it, so that builds to the intensity, I think, of a match when you're that well versed with each other and stuff like that.
it is amazing when you have somebody that you automatically just click with, and you're thinking, we need to do more shit together. We need to-
Well, and it's not even necessarily about clicking with somebody. It's just a matter of just what ends up working, I guess. I don't know. I'm not educated enough to know. I don't know enough about stars to refute, as they say.
So, going forward, do you have any particular goals that you would like to do before you kind of ride off into the sunset and call it a career for wrestling?
The ultimate goal is to be able to support myself entirely on wrestling, or at least as an artist in one way, shape, or form. That is the ultimate goal. I don't care where I do it, or who I do it with, or who I do it for. At the end of the day, I just want the money that I make between those ropes to be what puts... Oh, man. I just want the money that I make that... Words are very tough. English is one of those languages, kids.
English is not my first language either. So.
Gibberish is mine, as it were. And then drunk second.
That's a new one. I like it.
So yeah, the ultimate goal, as I was saying, is to get to that point where the money that I'm making between those ropes or at that merch table is what's putting food on my table. And the money that I make now certainly helps. I'd be lying if I'd say that I'm not going to go buy groceries Monday night after the regular life job, and it'll probably be any of the money that I made wrestling this weekend.
Right.
And that's great. I love that.
So, other than ACW, are you working in any other promotions or any other companies, or are you solely now fully committed to like ACW right now?
I'm here at ACW just about every month. Also every month I'm at BCW, Brew City Championship Wrestling. And I'm also at ICW, Insane Championship Wrestling. Again, basically on a monthly basis. Next weekend for BCW, it's actually myself, Chucky Bates, and Aesop Mitchell in a steel cage for the BCW Heritage Championship match. A title that I've been chasing for damn near a year now. And I mean, I'll be damned if I'm not walking out next Saturday with that belt around my waist. It's just going to happen. And then, yeah, I guess, ICW every month, every single month.
Are there any dream feuds that you would love to have with either, people in Wisconsin or people in, out of state?
Give me Crane proper. I want to wrestle Salem Crane for months on end. Give me Derek St. Holmes. I don't even necessarily want to feud with Derek St. Holmes. I just want to wrestle. What's that?
You gotta know your stuff.
Gosh.
Grab that quick. All right, so now I think that's the last interruption that we'll have for the night, which brings us to the final question that I always ask people, and that is, at the end of the day, at the end of your career, riding off into the sunset, what would you like most people to remember, or the biggest takeaway you would like to have people take away from your career?
I just want to be remembered. I want to be able to give people those memories that, they'll talk about, to their grandkids, kind of a thing. Oh, I remember this one time I saw Ethan Matthews, he went through this door, it was insane, and somehow he came back up and he cut the guy's face with a cheese grater. I've only done one death match. It's making it sound like I'm a death match guy. I've only done one. But, man, I want to create those memories that people will remember forever and talk about forever. I want to outlive, I want to leave a lasting legacy and just be remembered more than anything. I don't necessarily need to be, I don't want to be the best wrestler. I don't want to be the strongest guy.
Yep.
Yes, thank you so much. Sweet. I don't want to be the strongest guy. I don't need to be the best looking guy. I'm just trying to be the most memorable, most entertaining.
Can I pull in the door when I close it?
Yes. I want to be the most entertaining, most memorable entertainer in any way, shape, or form that you've seen in your entire life.
Well, I can definitely say that you're one of the more memorable characters that I remember.
I appreciate that.
And especially one of the few guys that have literally jokingly said, put a pair of pants on. Why? I don't know. It's just one of those things where it does seem like you can't wrestle in your underwear.
I mean, it definitely looks that way to a lot of people.
Of course, everybody is just like, no, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. I think I actually had one person, the person next to me, I think had you as their Rumble pick. And it's just somebody's like, throw him out so he can put a pair of pants on. They're like, no, he's my pick. He's got to stay in.
Was it like a 40-something-year-old woman?
No, it was, I think like a middle-aged guy like me, I want to say.
I draw them too, I guess.
Oh, man. Every sex be warned. Ethan Matthews is on the hunt.
Well, I mean,
Ethan Quagmire Matthews is on the hunt.
That's the problem. I'm not the hunter. I'm the hunted.
Oh.
That's the whole deal there.
That's your curse that you have to deal with.
It is, though. It is.
So this is the point of the show where I allow people to do like the cheap plugs. You did do the cheap plugs for
we've been doing cheap plugs the entire time.
You have, but I'm talking more like your social media where people can find you, and also like upcoming shows. But you definitely hit the nail on the head with a couple of those.
Hit a bunch of upcoming shows on the Facebooks. You can find me at Ethan Matthews, Instagram at Marvelous Matthews. I'd be Marvelous_Matthews. I don't know. If you find one that like seems like it's got like a thing, but like hasn't had much action on it, that's not the one you want. Because there's two of them out there. I don't have Twitter. I don't have a Pro Wrestling Tees. I should get on both of those things, but
yeah, it's a player's choice. In all honesty, when it comes to Twitter, you're not missing out on much, except for everybody basically wishing fire to the world. Oh, especially when Goldberg wins.
Oh well, I mean,
if you want that kind of entertainment, by all means, sign up for a Twitter account.
Tune in to SummerSlam.
This is what I'm getting. So you can find me on Twitter, ladies and gentlemen, at RealFNGame. as well as on the Instagram. Also, you can check out our merchandise store, check out the Game Changer podcast on so many different podcasting media formats, and be sure to listen into a lot of the other interviews that I've had. I've gotten the chance to interview Salem Crane, Nick Colucci, Dave Hero, as I mentioned before, and so many more. Definitely check those out. And we can add Ethan Matthews to the list of people I've interviewed now.
Yes, we can.
And it has been an honor and a privilege to be talking to you and talk about just so many fun things. We'll definitely have a part 2 when it comes to this. Hopefully one that will have less cameos and less interruptions.
I'm hoping for more, to be honest.
You're hoping like every 5 minutes just somebody comes in being like, what's up?
Oh, I think we were at least at that for this one.
You know, that's... Yeah.
Yeah, we probably, yeah.
It was, now that I think about it. But for Ethan Matthews, has been Nate the Effing Great from the Game Changer podcast. Guys, take care, be safe, be smart. Remember that you can make a difference one day at a time by being a game changer. Have a good one. Bye.